Our next panel session, Explore Policy Diplomacy and Global Leadership in MedTech. MedTech in Multipolar World. Can India lead through policy power? This is the main agenda of next session. So for this, we have our esteemed presence. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our moderator, Dr. Ravi Rathod, General Manager, Involution Healthcare Private Limited. And now I'm calling our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, give a hand for Dr. Rajiv Chibber, Vice President, External Affairs, SMT. Give a hand to our next panelist, Mr. Aditya Kohli, Director, Allied Medical. Sudhakar Mairpady, we have with us Mr. Sudhakar, Director, Regulatory and Government Affairs, BD. Mr. Shankar, Time Medical System, Mr. Shankar Varadharajan. We have with us our next panelist, Mr. Anjan Bose, Founding Secretary General of NATHEALTH, former President of Philips Healthcare and Consumer Lifestyle, India and South Asia, advisor, mentor and guide. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big hand for Dr. Uma Nambiar, CEO of Indian Institute of Science Medical School Foundation. So we have all the panelists and the moderator. Now over to you, Dr. Ravi Rathod.
Very good afternoon. I hope you have enjoyed your lunch. So let me first thank MedGet today and GMAF for always being active on this policy dialogue within the industry and taking up our issues with the government through their media briefs. So before going ahead, if we can discuss about the India's MedTech industry, I must say that the future of Indian MedTech industry is at a very fascinating stage in the global healthcare arena. The sector has poised for the massive growth projection to reach $50 billion by 2030. And if we can look at this number, this is actually a real opportunity also for India to transform its own healthcare system. And there is also an opportunity to lead the way of Indian MedTech for a global south. So now the question which we will be exploring today is, can India leverage its policy power and regulatory frameworks to position, to strengthen our Indian MedTech industry and become a global MedTech hub in the global south? And in today's discussion, this is what we are going to elaborate, that how we can get there, how India can align that policy power to meet the needs of the global healthcare community and secure our place as a global MedTech leader in the global south. So with this I'll start with my first question because we have a very short time. We are already 45 minutes delay. So I'll start with my first panelist, Mr. Aditya Kohli, the director with Allied Medical. Kohli ji, Allied Medical has emerged as a strong player in the Indian MedTech landscape, and your perspective is especially relevant in today's policy-driven environment. The government has launched several schemes, as I have mentioned, to the more recent efforts like PRIP, SMD and all. All schemes are aimed at strengthening the India's MedTech manufacturing, India's innovation and the R&D. So from your perspective, how can these government initiatives will truly catalyze India's transformation into the global MedTech hub? And looking ahead with additional policy reforms, what additional policy reforms, and majorly I would say the ecosystem level changes you would believe that are essential for India to become a leader in the global south? Over to you.
Very good afternoon to everyone, and thanks Ravi for putting that to me. Since we have very limited time on the panel, let me straight away jump to the replies that you've asked. So, I think you mentioned a lot of policies, starting with the National Medical Device Policy, which came out in 2023. I think it's a welcome move. It's helped to rationalize a lot of things Prior to that, it was something unimaginable to think that any medical device can be sold without any policy in place or without any licensing in place. You could just import anything XYZ and start selling it without any checks and balances. So the NMDP and the CDSCO is a very, very welcome move. It also helps to standardize, Indian manufacturers to go to the global level, which is the big ask now. When we talk about consumables, we are already doing very well in the global scenario. What we need to look at is how we can make them a little less complicated. I think even the SMIT scheme now and the PRIP, I think they need a lot of time and effort to actually be drawing some benefit out of that. But all these are good pushers, and if you have to go global, I think all these schemes are welcome moves from the government side.
Thank you. So what we can say is government has a good intentions to grow the domestic manufacturing industry, but the ground level challenges remains the same. He has talked about PLI scheme, where we all know the ground level challenges and how many industry has got the incentives. I would say in the process delay or the time frame or at the state level, and even the regulatory understanding between the central and states, that will play a major role. Thank you, Aditya ji. With the short of time, I'll move ahead with the next question to Dr. Rajiv Chibber. He is the Vice President with External Affairs with Sahajanand Medical Technology. Dr. Chibber, he is my friend, my partner in crime, I would say. So my question is, with your close intervention in these industry dialogues, how do you see the resolution of these tariff issues of rules and origin and non-tariff barriers like MRAs shaping the future of India's MedTech exports? And if you have any particular strategic steps in your mind, whether it will be at the policy level, whether at the regulatory or the industry level, that you think that we must overtake these challenges to enhance our global market access. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ravi. Thank you, MedGate, for organizing this. This particular question cannot have a direct answer if you look at it. We've been looking at FTAs. UK FTA culminated after almost a 3-year war. It was almost like, back-to-back, fighting, diplomatic fighting. It was industry fighting. Similarly, we just were, in fact, the entire globe was just struck by this entire US tariffs and, the new norms that they wanted to bring in. And that created that unraveled a lot of feathers, not only within US, but outside also. But apart from that, if you look at it, ASEAN FTA is already going on. We've got the UAE FTA, which is there. The LATAM countries are actually, the entire South-South is collaborating on a huge aspect of free trade agreements, which ultimately is going to benefit like a large portion of not only population but also government. Now, why do FTAs actually happen? But yes, we need to look at a prism of FTAs from a very large aspect, where India or where the South-South can actually be the fulcrum of all of this.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Chibber. So I would call out two things. I would say the harmonization of the regulations and the standards. So the question is, how do you see the Indian MedTech sector is balancing the imperative of aligning with the international quality and regulatory standards, and while also nurturing and scaling the indigenous innovations, because we have to see at both the level. And in your view, how can India best leverage the international partnerships and collaborations to strengthen the domestic capabilities without compromising its ambitions to become a self-reliant in the MedTech space? Over to you.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the organizers and thank you for giving the opportunity. So, the experience of local manufacturing and in export are the adding local innovation to the global. So very two different things which runs parallelly. Last but not the least, auditing. When you apply to the Ministry of Health, the application goes to central, then come to state, from the region, then someone comes and audit. Again, it's a 6 to 12 months story. By the time your innovation and market access completely delay has happened, your whole economics and dynamics will change. So my submission is the regulators have come a long way 2017 to 24, but still there needs a revisit in these the requirements, auditing, QCOs, and how can they help the investment? Can they invest innovation local can align with the launch, faster launch? Because for example, IITs are there, the doctors are there. Yes, I can accept the technology locally, but again it has to go through the clinical investigation. It takes time. So overall, there needs to hand-to-hand alignment to make this thing happen. As the last question is, can the global collaboration can happen? Yes, you have seen the pharma. Yes, it can happen, but it can happen provided these three areas get better and better. Otherwise, the interest will reduce. So back to you.
Rightly said, Sudhakar ji. So we are actually, it seems like we are over-regulated in the MedTech industry with every day, new rules and regulations. Even the new departments come and get some regulation for a single product, which is a multi-regulation, I would say. Going ahead with Anjan Bose sir. Anjan Bose sir is former Secretary General of NATHEALTH, former President of Philips Healthcare. Sir, you have worn many hats across your career, I would say. From leading a global MedTech giant, like now I would say India has become now more vocal in term and visible at the international platforms. So, especially representing the global south, now it is very much important for us to not only respond to the global standards, but also to help define those standards. So, sir, from your experience, what key policy steps you would suggest for India to focus to really establish itself as a policy leader in the global south? So, the key policy steps, and how do we ensure that while we do this, our policy remains rooted in the India's realities, but still speak to the needs of the global healthcare community? Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ravi. Keeping the time factor in mind, the topic that Ravi has given me, I think can take a couple of hours between us. I will try to keep it as focused as possible. There are two aspects, I think it's a very good question, because before we outreach across our frontiers, we need to get our house in order. To get our house in order, I think there are great efforts that is happening already in the last one decade, I would say, both from the industry side as well as from the government side. These are a few very concrete thoughts in my mind, and I think now we need to act on it instead of conceptualizing more. Time to act.
Right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You have actually briefed a lot of points for me also. Coming to Dr. Uma Nambiar, ma'am. She is the CEO of Indian Institute of Science Medical School Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank the panelists to really set the stage for people like us. I have the unique advantage of also being the end user of all the products that will be created, because we are going to run the hospital. So the first and the foremost problem that I see is that in India, we do not have the culture of research in basic science and investing in basic science, because we look at everything as cost. Now, return on investment in research takes a lot of patience, takes time, and takes a huge amount of money.
Correct,
yeah, so that is what I wanted to say.
Rightly mentioned, you have to actually invest in the basic science and what is the basic research, how much time it will get. Ma'am, that's the reason we were discussing about the rules of origin while we were. So thank you so much. Thank you again to the MedGet today and GMA for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, all the global MedTech visionary, for this compelling session. So starting with our moderator, Dr. Ravi Rathod. Felicitate Dr. Rajiv Chibber, Vice President, External Affairs SMT.